So there can only be one pawn per column for each character, for each player. So basically that's all there really is to this. It's it's how each character moves. It's how each character plays. So when you capture an enemy's piece, you can put it on your side, and this especially happens if you start missing characters and you put them on this side of the way this works when you capture, if anybody, I don't want to sell people who play Shōgi. So basically if you're playing the bad guys, you capture the good guys. Here are your good guys here. And on this side, you capture the bad guys. So I think that's the way it goes. So for here, if you eat the pieces, they go here. If you eat the pieces over here, they go over here on the player's left-hand side. I think in chess, it's supposed to be the pieces are to the sides of the board in American chess. But in Japanese chess, it's sort of in a cluster. So you have that. And I think that's it. I think it's difficult. This is a difficult game, but it's not too different from chess. Shōgi has its own rules for tournaments. How do you set up the pieces? There's Ito and Ohashi for how you set up the king, then gold and silver generals, then knights, then I think you set up the pawns, then the lances, then the bishop and the rook. But that's like I said, it's more for tournaments. But yeah, this is like I said. So when you capture the bad guys, or you capture the good guys, let's say you capture the good guys, then they face this way. They face the enemy on the other side. And you have to make sure that they're always facing the other way. With regular Shōgi pieces, you have to make sure they're constantly pointing in the one direction. I don't have the. Wait a minute. Yes, I do. Here it is. So these are what the original pieces of Shōgi look like. Okay, so you can see that it's shaped like an arrow. So you have to make sure that the arrow is always pointing in the direction of where it's supposed to be pointing. So if you capture an enemy's piece, it's still facing the same direction as it was if it was on the other player's side. So no, wait a minute. I'm sorry, I'm confusing myself. If you capture the enemy's piece, it now faces the opponent. So always make sure that your character is always that your Shōgi piece or your rebel piece or your empire piece, imperial piece, is always facing the opponent. So that's the most important thing. So that's how you know it's on your side. So if you capture, let's say you capture a rebel pilot, okay, and you put him here. So he was facing this way, now he's facing the other way. He's facing with his gun towards your opponent. I don't think anybody understood anything I said, but like I said, Shōgi is Japanese chess. All the rules are on Wikipedia. You can look them up. But what I decided to do was to take Star Wars figures from the those figurines, the box sets that you get at Frankenson's or other comic book stores, and I decided to put those in place of these. So I replaced these with all this and make a game out of it. It's the same game. As to the figurines, so if you promote the figures here, you can promote them. For the Wookiee, this would be a gold general for the Wookiee. These rebel pilots here would replace the Alderaan officers here. The male Twi'lek would replace the female Twi'lek. So these would be the gold generals for this set. And of course here you have the superior stormtrooper officers, for the gold generals for the pawns here. These would be for, I'm not sure what they were for. I think they were for, wait a minute. Okay, here we go. The Gamorrean Guard is for the snow monsters here. For the lances, the lances become gold generals. And I forgot what these ones were for. They might have been for the knights. Or they could have been for the silver generals. I'm not sure. I have Jawas and Ewoks here for the pawns, but you can easily take the Ewok and replace it with a Jawa as a gold general. So you can do that. When you capture a piece, let's say you decide to put the piece on the board. Okay? As soon as you put a piece on the board to declare that your captured character is now working for the Empire, or that your stormtrooper is working for the rebels, that counts as one move. You can't make any more moves than that. That's another thing you can learn about. So that's it. That's basically all there is to this. It's very complicated. A typical game can take up to 2 hours. For me, it's taken longer. It's very complicated. Like I said, I didn't invent this game from scratch. This is Shōgi, but I just took the figurines. And because the figures do promote, unlike chess where a pawn can become any piece it wants to be from the opponent's side. No, I'm sorry. The pawn, a pawn can become a piece that was already taken off the board in American chess. Here, the promotion is within the figurine. In Shōgi, and I do think that this is a knight. Okay, so here's the knight. This would be a knight here, right? This is your knight. So here's the proper Shōgi piece of a knight. And when it gets to the 8th or 9th row of the other side of the board, it becomes a gold general. This is the promoted side of it. But because I'm dealing with figurines, it's hard to really do that. You can't flip it over. You can't flip the figure over. It would look ridiculous. So you have these replacement pieces to promote. So for her, this is the gold general. So that's how that works. So that's what that was the system I was working out. And I decided that for the king, and this is how you beat the game with a checkmate. But unlike chess, you can't do perpetual check, meaning that if I put your king in check and you move the king away from check, my next move has to be something else. And then the move after that move can be a check move. So in chess, in American chess, you constantly try to put the king in check. So in this case, in the case of Japanese chess, you cannot do that. You have to find another way to humiliate your opponent. But that's the real difference in Shōgi is those rules, but especially when you capture your opponents. If you capture your opponents and then put it on the board as your own army, you build up your army. That shows good strategy. And also it's good strategy to let some of your characters die off so that you can put stronger pieces on the board. But this is a game of skill, and it's tough. So, I mean, this is for people who got enough of Star Wars Battlefront for their PlayStation 4, and they're anticipating the movie. And, like I said, if nobody understood a word I said, then what I suggest you do is go look up Shōgi Japanese chess on Wikipedia, get some of these Star Wars figures, learn the rules, and go to town. If you didn't understand a word I said, have at it. Adios.